And welcome to Girl Meets Gothic, where we explore Gothic goodness in all its guises. I am your host, Rebecca Cuthbert, and with me today, we have a filmmaker, which is a first for us, Leticia Buchanan of Love Your Face Films. Letty, thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
We have questions for you tonight. Especially myself. I know zero about filmmaking. So to kick us off, will you tell us about the founding of Love Your Face Films, how you started it, why you started it, and what goals you had in mind?
Well, it initially began because my producing partner and my best friend in the world, Eddie LeBron, was doing a short film a few years ago called 21st Century Courtship. And I was going to come on as an associate producer because my background isn't film. My background actually is television. But the gentleman that he had hired to be the producer of the film had a baby and he wasn't able to continue with the film. So like, hey, hello, I can do it. So he gave me a chance and I produced that with him. And then we started working together, and we were actually at Smodcastle Film Festival with 21st Century Courtship, and we were in a restaurant across the street from the theater, and we started talking about, starting our own production company because we work so well together. It's like two puzzle pieces that just fit together. And one thing, I always tell my friends I love you all the time, but to kind of make it a little bit different, I always say, I love your face, love your face. And that was something that Eddie and I have always said to each other on the phone is love your face. So when we were thinking of names for the production company, we just said, love your face. It just makes sense because anyone could identify with that. You want to love your own face. You want to be comfortable in your own skin. You want to stay weird, be different, that type of thing. So we thought that name fit us perfectly. So we started doing films and music videos. I think we did a couple of documentaries, but as Love Your Face together.
How long have you been together as Love Your Face? What year was this that you got started?
I think we might be going into year 3 now.
Okay. All right. So well on your way.
Yes.
I wanted to ask which, in your opinion, from the production side of it, from the backside, which of your films has the most Gothic elements in it? And how did you incorporate those into the story and into the visuals?
It's funny because the stories that we have with the most Gothic elements were in pre-production for right now. We haven't quite shot them yet. Thank you. We just recently got into the realm of horror. And then before we entered that realm, I always had a love for tragic love stories. I find the beauty in the tragedy. So stories like Sid and Nancy or Kurt Cobain and Courtney Love, most people look at them as they're a train wreck of a relationship. But for me, I just look at them like, wow, these two people loved each other so much that they literally went insane, or they just can't control their actions and they act at times irrationally. But I find that so beautiful because that's such a deep love. So a lot of the love stories that we were doing, Eddie's kind of like a little helpless romantic. So anything that he writes is very loving and touchy-feely. For me, something tragic is going to happen with my love stories. So I've written quite a few tragic love story scripts. And then right now we're in pre-production. I wrote a script about my struggle with sleep paralysis. So this one is going to be super scary. Very, very scary.
Sleep paralysis is terrifying.
It is.
the like sort of folklore legends about sleep paralysis and sleep paralysis demons, like those freak me out.
There are so many different stories. I've read stories where it's actually a scientific thing that happens and there's some chemical reaction in your brain that causes the body to go into sleep paralysis. And then it's like what you said, the folklore about a sleep paralysis demon or a sleep paralysis witch. And I've seen so many different artistic images of people that have sketched out their quote unquote sleep paralysis demon. There are a couple of common themes amongst people that have sleep paralysis, but it seems like everybody's is a little bit different. Mine wasn't as horrific as a lot of people. So I did take a lot of liberty with the script because I want to make it very, very scary. This is going to be the first film where I'm going to incorporate jump scare.
Okay.
And a lot of gore. The last film that we did that's currently in the circuit, it's called Betty, and it's an AI horror, but it's not a jump scare horror, but it is gory.
All right. So we're going to keep our eye out for that one that's out now. What's the title of the one that features sleep paralysis and all of those other scary things? What's the title, and when do you think we can start looking for that one?
That one is called Paralysis, and I'm hoping to start shooting that by next month.
Oh, wow. So right around the corner.
Yes. It's not going to take very long. It's a short.
So when you are prepping to start a film, what is that like? What is it like what are your days like when you're going into that? Because I feel like those would be wild and stressful and chaotic and fun and all sorts of things.
It is stressful and chaotic, but when it comes to producing and production, I am very, very organized, and I want to get everything done as quickly as possible and as efficient as possible. So I will sit there all day and hours will go by, and I'll try to squeeze and get as much done as I can in those hours. So then by the deadline, I'm already done. I will work numbers. I love numbers. So that's my strongest suit as a producer is numbers. I will cut budget as much as I can, not for talent, not for crew. That's one thing that I draw the line on, but other things I will negotiate. I will call in favors. I'll make $1 out of 15 cents.
So do you work? Sorry, do you work the same way as your partner, or do you complement one another's strengths?
We complement each other very well because he works all the technical side. Okay. He knows everything that needs to be done technically. Creatively, we come together and we work. He'll give me feedback on my scripts. I'll give him feedback on his scripts, constantly changing it, even day of. And sometimes he'll come up with ideas that I want and I didn't even know that I wanted. So we really work very well together. We really fit each other. The things he doesn't like to do, I love to do. And the things I don't like to do or I don't know how to do, he knows how to do.
Nice.
But he works very efficiently too. But it's funny because he works in organized chaos and I work in, okay, this, and this, but it all flows and it all works together.
That's awesome. Have your goals for the company evolved over time, or have they stayed pretty steady to your original vision?
Well, we keep coming up with different ideas and different things that we want to do. Right now, what happened with me is I worked on one horror film a couple of years ago, and I started out very afraid because when I was younger, I grew up watching horror movies with my dad. My father, when I was a kid, he took me to the movies to see Children of the Corn. What parent does that? I don't know what parent does that. And Dad, if you're watching, you should have never taken me to that film. I had nightmares for years, and I still have nightmares about it. On Saturday mornings, I would watch The Fly. He showed me Children of the Damned or Village of the Damned. I don't remember the title. He showed me Rosemary's Baby. I was a kid. So I liked horror as a teenager and as a kid, but then as I became an adult, I didn't like it. I was terrified of it. I would do thrillers, but I really was not into the horror scene. But I did one film, and then I started to notice a pattern that there weren't very many women in the realm of horror. And doing some research, I was trying to think what women directors, what women producers, writers out there do horror. And it was very, very few. Then I started to notice there are very few people of color in the horror realm. At that time, now we have Sinners, woo! But before that, the only person anyone could name was Jordan Peele. So I said, okay, that's two elements of myself. I'm a woman and I'm a woman of color, and there's no spaces there for us. So I'm going to do it. I'm going to put on my big girl pants. I'm going to get used to horror, and I'm going to do it. I want to create representation for women and for people of color in this field. So I started writing about things that have always scared me, or things I'm like, ooh, that's creepy in some weird type of way. And then I found myself really starting to like it. So I said, you know what? I'm going to start watching horror again and see what happens. And the first film I watched, I don't remember what it was, but it didn't scare me at all. I didn't jump, scream, nothing, nightmares, nothing. And I said, well, maybe I'm becoming a big girl now. I think I'm okay with it. But also working behind the scenes, it kind of desensitizes a little bit. But now I'm finding myself, like this week, I took a break and I binge watched a lot of movies this week. And everything I watched was either a thriller or horror. I was getting bored with other things.
Is your dad super proud? Like, is he excited that you're getting back into it?
My dad hasn't watched any of my films because I don't think he could handle some of them. I think he would be a little ashamed of his.
Oh, he would never be ashamed of you.
Oh, or I would get a good scolding.
Yeah.
Sorry, Dad. Sorry.
My father gave me a talking to because I used a swear word in a poem in my book of poetry. And he said, you shouldn't use that word, Rebecca.
Yeah, that's the other thing. One. There's quite a bit of swearing in my films, and a little bit of nudity and some gore, a lot of gore.
Little nudity, little gore, that's spice. That's adding the spice to the content.
It's spicy.
Exactly.
He's got a spicy daughter.
And you can trace that back to it's all his fault. So
it is. He should have never taken me to see Children of the Corn.
Yeah, you can remind him of that if he ever says anything about it.
Still messed me up to this day.
Yeah. Yes, it really does. It's funny how even people who, as adults, love horror, we can remember those core memories when we were little and we watched something or we read something that we were too young for. And I have a bunch of older siblings, so there's 6 of us in total. So my brothers were all teenage. There's a lot of us teenagers when I was a little kid, and so they were all watching horror movies like teenagers often do. And they're babysitting us, like my sister and my little brother. There's kind of like 3 older and 3 younger kids. And they were just like putting on Nightmare on Elm Street and all this other stuff while we're just sitting in the living room. And I remember having such terrible nightmares that
Aww.
that Freddie was scratching on my bedroom window.
Oh no.
I still remember. I don't forgive them. So I don't know if it was probably Danny and Jeff's fault. So I'm blaming them. They were probably the ones who showed that.
Oh,
But
Danny, Jeff, come on.
but
You know, when I saw Nightmare on Elm Street for the first time as a kid, I was so distracted by Johnny Depp. It didn't scare me at all. I fell in love so hard with Johnny Depp in that movie. And I still remember his kill scene to this day. But I was so distracted by how beautiful that man was. It did not scare me. I don't think I got scared or creeped out until maybe the third one. Because when I went to see the second one, I'm like, oh, he's going to come back. Not thinking, you know, he was dead. Oh, he's going to come back. He's going to come back. But yeah, no, he didn't. But I waited patiently for Johnny.
lucky they didn't have Yelp reviews back then. It's been like, you know, 2 stars. No, not enough pretty men in this.
But you know, when I was growing up on Saturday mornings, I think it was Channel 5, I'm not sure, but they used to have the Kung Fu Theater, and that was like in the afternoon. But then in the evening, it kind of turned more towards the horror and thriller. And I remember, you know, I watched The Fly with my dad on that one. I watched all the Stephen King's Christine and Cujo. I remember seeing Pet Sematary on that Saturday. And then they also used to have, I don't know if you remember this, they used to have something called Chilla Theater. And
yes,
it had that. Do you remember that?
Yes.
The hand that came out of the ground and it would go Chilla with 6 fingers. That terrified me so much. That the opening with the hand scared me more than the actual movies that they showed. I remember as a kid, we were living in an apartment, and that ad came up right before Chilla Theater started. And I said, okay, this is going to be the Saturday that I'm going to be brave. Because my dad used to make fun of me, and my mom would make fun of me because I would run out of the room when that hand came up. But I said, okay, I'm going to be brave. I'm going to be brave. I'm going to be brave. Rebecca, I was not brave. I jumped under the table, under the coffee table, and I hid. And I was so scared. And then that Saturday, they showed a horror about a ventriloquist doll.
Yep.
And I still remember what that ugly doll looked like. I think his name might have been Woody, but I think it was like a demon-possessed ventriloquist doll, and it came and killed the owner. And that was the scariest one that I've ever seen on a Saturday. So I was really messed up that Saturday. Really messed up.
I am not over your parents teasing you for being scared as a little kid. And I'm like, yes, 1980s parents, they were something else. There was something
But
different.
You know what? Even now in 2025, my parents are, you know, quite older. They'll still every so often, hey, remember Chilla? They still talk about it. And they even tell my kids about it. They still talk about that Chilla. So I actually looked it up. I looked it up on YouTube to see. I wanted to watch it as an adult. And now I look at it and said, oh my God, what was I scared of? It's just a little claymation. So it's so funny what scares.
It is. And I'm wondering now with that experience. So you said that you have kids. Have you indoctrinated them into anything scary? Are you giving them time to get older? How do you handle that? Do you make fun of them and put them in front of the scary movies like your parents did?
My oldest one naturally gravitated to horror because I'm a big sci-fi buff. That's another thing that I got from my father watching Star Trek. Growing up, I was Star Trek more than Star Wars. But he started watching sci-fi, and then he started watching a little bit more of the horror sci-fi, and he took a movie class in middle school, and they started showing Aliens and a couple of other older horror movies. So he would come home and say, oh, Ma, you have to watch this. I was like, I saw that. You know, when I was growing up, I had already seen that. So when the newer horror movies came out, because he's only 14, I said, okay, either I have to watch it with you or I have to see it first. So he came, Mommy, I'll hold your hand. You could be brave. So that's the old, teenage boys, they don't cuddle, but that's the only cuddle time that I got with him. So I said, okay, I'm going to watch horror because that's the only time I get to have my big boy cuddle me. So it evolved into something that we did together. So when the new Alien came out, he said, oh, Mom, we're going to go see this and we got to see it at night. I don't want to see it during the day. So, and then next week I have to take him to see Sinners, which he's not a fan of vampires, but because everybody's talking about it now, he wants to see it. And then he has me watching The Last of Us with him on, I don't remember what platform it's on. And then he loves zombies. He's really into zombies. And I never really got into zombies before, but now we've watched a few days ago, we watched World War Z, and then we watched Shaun of the Dead, and we had to do back to back.
I do love Shaun of the Dead. That is a good one.
That is fantastic.
I don't know if I should say that's my favorite zombie movie, but I think it is.
Yeah, it is. I do like a good horror comedy. Mm-hmm. I do. And Simon Pegg, he's just classic. He really is.
That is true. All you need is his face doing something silly and like the movie is made.
Oh yeah. I hadn't seen Shaun of the Dead in such a long time. So, it was nice. It was nice to watch. And then they also got both, even my younger son's not really into horror, but as soon as Stranger Things came out, he was so happy. He got so hooked on Stranger Things. And it was nice because they were asking me both about growing up in the 80s and, is this really true? Did you really ride your bike to school? Did you really do these things and explore the woods? I said, oh yeah, This is definitely how it was. So it was really nostalgic. And, I was able to reminisce certain things with them as they were watching it. So we became a little horror family together.
That is so sweet. That is the sweetest story ever. See, folks, we didn't know we were going to have such heart in this episode, but we do. How cute. And yes, Stranger Things, I thought nailed the 80s.
Oh, yes.
And like you would just be gone for like 8 hours. Your parents didn't know where you were. They didn't know what you were doing. No way to contact anybody else, right? Like they just said goodbye to you in the morning.
As long as you were home before those street lights came on.
We got a lot of go play, go play.
Go outside, disappear, especially in the summertime. There was no summer camp. My parents would feed me breakfast, open the door, and say, don't come back in till later.
They let us out like we were cats, right? Like, just go, come home later when you're hungry,
We're a bunch of stray cats drinking out the hose.
Yes. Don't get into trouble,
But we always got into trouble.
We got into trouble, but they didn't know about most of it.
No, because there
cell
was
phones, no social media. Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
I had to walk around. Your business.
Exactly. I had to walk around with a quarter in my pocket for the payphone in case I got in trouble.
Yes.
And my parents would run random checks too, asking for that quarter to make sure I didn't spend it on chips or soda or anything.
That's I like that they, they were doing they were making fun of you for being scared of horror movies, but then they still did their quarter check. And that is a 1980s parent, right? Like they love you.
It really is.
They love you. They're just not being overly gentle with you either, No. There was no gentle parenting. That wasn't a thing.
No, there was no feelings and explaining what you feel. No, you just did what you were told.
You did what you're told or you got in trouble.
Exactly.
Those were the two options. I lost an earbud here. Okay. So I have a question that I don't know if you can answer it. I don't know if it's fair to ask because it's like if somebody says to me, oh, what's your favorite book? I can't answer. Like I've read too many books. I like too many books to say, oh, I have a favorite book. So, so I'm going to ask you this, but You are allowed to qualify your response in any way you want to, and you can give more than one answer. You can give per genre answers. You do whatever you'd like to, but what is your favorite film that somebody else made that you think has like the best Gothic elements to it? And I know like it's hard, right? Because Gothic is this aesthetic that you can mix with so many other genres. So
that's true.
It's not even like genre specific, but what's maybe not your favorite, but one you think is really good with a lot of really juicy Gothic elements to it.
Okay, I can't give one answer. I can't. My first answer, favorite movie growing up, still to this day, absolutely love it, The Lost Boys.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, the Lost Boys, the vampires, the way Jamie Gertz dressed. Her name was Star in the movie. She had the coolest name. She had the bohemian long flowy skirt and the necklaces and the long black hair. She was gorgeous. Everybody wanted to be Jamie Gertz, and then everybody wanted to date one of the vampires or Jason Patrick, Michael.
Yep.
So growing up, I would have to say The Lost Boys is what really kind of introduced me into my own opinion, not anything that, you know, wasn't influenced by Dad, but it was more that, and also Pet Sematary because it had such a great soundtrack. So that was really good. And then Beetlejuice.
Yep.
Come on, Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice is the classic still to this day. Beetlejuice is one of my favorite movies. Love it. I started out and studied music in college, and I think Phantom of the Opera is so goth.
Yes.
It's just beautiful.
Yes.
The music, the haunting elements, the dark beauty. And I'm talking the Broadway show, no disrespect to Gerard Butler. The man is gorgeous. The man is beautiful. But when I saw Phantom of the Opera on Broadway, I went back several times to see it. It was so beautiful. And then more currently, I am a huge Lisa Frankenstein fan. I'm not sure if you
still on my list. And it's like, I don't know why we haven't seen it yet. It's just like we don't get to watch enough stuff because we work too much. But my husband and I both wanted to see that. It's still on the list. So thank you for reminding me because I need to get on that. And now I also want to rewatch Lost Boys too.
Oh, yes. Great soundtrack. Oh, Lost Boys, one of the best soundtracks of the 80s to me. But Lisa Frankenstein really reminded me of growing up in school. I dressed just like her. And she went from the popish kind of regular gal, and then all of a sudden she became this dark goth beauty. And also another tragic love story there, but I don't want to give too much away because you haven't seen it, but I've seen it several times.
Okay. Well, okay. If it's worth you watching it several times, it's worth me making time for it.
Oh yeah. It has such nostalgia to it, and it's funny and it's beautiful and tragic at the same time. That's it. That's the whole thing about goth, is finding the beauty in the darkness.
Yes, absolutely. It's like, grandeur brought into decay. It is the dark. It's creeping into the dark places on purpose to see what's there. And now that we're on that topic, it's a good segue to another question that I'd like to start asking all of my guests this. And I know that when you say the Gothic, it's this big thing because it's aesthetic. It's also, there are genre elements and conventions to it. There are traditions. There's the whole period. There's architecture, right? Like there's so much to it. But when we're talking about the Gothic as an aesthetic and as a genre, why do you think it is so enduring? Because thank goodness for people like us, it's not going anywhere. So
Right.
what is it that it just does not really fall out of fashion? It doesn't ever really go off trend. We don't get sick of it. Like, what is it about it to you that makes it this evergreen world that we always want to be part of, or at least we want to spend time in it?
For me, it's the sense of community. Um, Majority of my friends are goth or goth adjacent. Um, I wouldn't say I'm 100% goth. I'm probably like a little teetering on the line a little bit. One day I'm 100% in, one day I'm not in, but I guess that means I'm kind of all in. But there is such a great sense of camaraderie and community and amongst the people that I know. They're all very, very beautiful. It goes beyond the fashion and the music. I mean, music does bring everybody together. I met a lot of my friends on the dance floor. I met Eddie, my producing partner. We met on the dance floor in the goth clubs and at goth parties. So there is a lot of community and camaraderie and support there. But also, I think it's the beauty of everything. Like I was saying, I hate to be repetitive, but that beauty in, the darker things, not so much like being, oh, sad and depressed. I
Mhm.
guess that's a little bit more on, the emo side, but,
Mhm.
finding unconventional beauty and unconventional forms of happiness. And a lot of people that I've encountered have always been kind of outcasts or just very different and not like the average quote unquote normal person. Um, there are a lot of different personalities and a lot of people that have gone through, not everybody's has had rough pasts, but they've gone through some things. So, you tend to kind of bond together. And then also, as you mentioned, the Gothic agriculture and buildings, and it's just so beautiful. And the castles. Um, my favorite is probably Stirling Castle in Scotland. Oh, gorgeous, 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 gorgeous.
Yes, I will take an abandoned castle any day. If somebody's trying to like sell me on a movie or a book and they're like, "Oh, it's an abandoned castle and like there's a haunting and there are buried family secrets." I'm like, "Okay, you sold me. I'm there."
Oh, haunting, that was like, ooh, for me. Even though, I might write about it, but to actually be present in it where you feel kind of, a little creepiness. Like I felt that in Savannah,
Yeah.
Georgia.
Yep.
Oh my
Yep.
goodness. Savannah, Georgia is one of the places where I suffered from sleep paralysis, the worst in my entire life.
They do
So I
say that
feel
it is
like
super haunted.
it is. And I was staying in this one hotel that was fairly new. I don't remember what the name of the hotel was, but I remember all night I could not sleep. I kept going into sleep paralysis and I put music on to see if it would stop it. Did not stop it. The next morning I went down to the hotel lobby and I asked them, I said, "Do you know, I think you have something in this hotel." And they said, "Oh, no, no one's ever reported that or seen anything in this hotel. Maybe before it was renovated, people, said something, but now no one has ever said anything. You're the first." I said, "I'm not going to be the last. Maybe it's something in my room, but there is definitely something there." So I think that Savannah is definitely up there for
Yeah.
a God favorite
Yeah.
destination.
Yeah, and it's just beautiful too. But
It is.
absolutely, uh, I got just kind of on a chance. My niece got married last year, like one town away from Sleepy Hollow. New York. Like,
Oh,
well, it's called Tarrytown now, I think, but
right. Yes.
we got to go to the Sleepy Hollow Cemetery. We just like spent a day walking around the Sleepy Hollow Cemetery, and it was awesome. It was
Did
so
you
cool.
feel
And
anything?
I was just goofing off with my nieces. We were like running all over the place. We were, peeking in the mausoleums to like see if we could see skeletons. Like, oh, do you see any skeletons in there?
Wow.
We were just having fun. So if there
I
were
think this
ghosts
is
around, I didn't have time for them. I was playing with my nieces, but we had such a good day.
But that's a good distraction.
It was good. And I love those little girls. They're my sister's kids, and they have their little creepy side, and I like to think that they got that, some like my family's DNA or something got down, and they share that with me. That they'll grow up and they'll write scary books too someday or something. I don't know.
Ooh, maybe even
We'll see.
scarier than you.
Maybe they might. I do like sort of quiet horror. It would be funny if they grew up to write like slashers and, extreme horror and stuff that I can't even handle. We'll see. They're
Like
very
a good
little.
slasher film.
Yeah. I'm the one who's covering my eyes at the gore.
That used to be me.
I still do. I'm 42. If there's a gory scene, I will cover my eyes and I will ask my husband to tell me when it's over so that I can look again.
I'll still kind of cower a little bit, but I don't cover my eyes anymore. Sometimes I'll go like that, but I want to see. But you know what? I think it makes it worse when you hear the sound at the same time, like that squelching.
Oh, well, I'm hearing it. It's giving me the willies.
But that's what I like to write about.
Yeah. Well, and there's the whole visual aspect for you. Like,
Yes.
I imagine that as a filmmaker, there are things you notice about the world that other people either don't notice or at least take for granted.
Right.
Just in the world around you, like compositions and light and stuff like that, that you're walking around and your brain is just picking up on these things.
Oh yeah, or I'll see something like, "Ooh, could you imagine?" It's every time I go to get my nails done. This is a really dark thought. Every time I go to get my nails done, I always have this idea of, okay, maybe they're talking about me, but maybe, when they file your nail with that, I always think about what if someone got really mad and grabbed your hand and just held that file down? What would it do to the finger if it just filed all the way down past the nail?
Oh,
I know it's gross, but I think of things like that just in, everyday life, or, someone opens a cash register. What if like the key was pointing out and they hit it and it just like went into the belly button or something like that?
you're always making movies in your head. You are
In my
the
head,
goriest moments that you can imagine. You're making movies all day.
And it's
Okay.
for me, it's always a woman villain. Women aren't the victim, they're the villain.
Yes. I like this. I like all of this. I love feminist horror. I love it
Oh, me
when
too.
the women get to be, bad and good and everything in between. And I like
Yes,
it
my
when they're
slashers are
rageful.
women.
Yes. Yes. More women in horror, more women
Yes,
villains, more women
yes,
being bad, more women being unapologetically angry.
yes,
That's what I want.
yes,
That you can be mad and you
definitely.
don't have to say sorry for being mad.
No,
You don't
I
have to
love
apologize for emotions.
I love to write things that men typically will do to women, but women in turn do it back to a man.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to give too much away, but yeah.
I giggle when, people post those videos to like Instagram and TikTok of women walking down the street and telling strange men to smile. I love those. I would watch those all day all day
Yes.
long. I would watch them.
Ooh,
Oh,
what if a woman did that in cut the sides of his mouth to make him smile.
See,
Like
this you're doing.
I told you to smile.
Oh, I can't wait to see some of these films that are going to come out from you. It's going to be a gore fest. And I'm going to make myself watch it because I'll know, oh, this is Leticia's idea. I got to watch this.
And don't cover your eyes, please.
I won't.
Don't.
I won't cover my eyes if I know it's yours. Just because I like you too much
honor.
To close them.
That's an honor. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so we know what you're working on next. Did I ask? I'm sorry if I asked this already. When that film is going to be coming out, Paralysis?
Well, right now I have Betty in the circuit. That's the AI horror that I was telling you about. But Paralysis, as soon as I'm done shooting it, Eddie is a very fast editor, very fast. So I'm thinking by the end of the year, before the end of the year, it should be done.
Okay, and we should follow your socials so that we can find out where this is going. And you are at all sorts of film fests, right? Like you do the circuit, you're in the scene, so people should be looking for you there too.
Definitely. Next week, Betty will be at Warped Witch Festival down in Louisiana.
Woohoo! I wish I could go to that. That would be awesome. Stuck up here in New York.
Aww.
All right. Okay, so we're going to follow you on social media. Where else should we keep an eye out for you and your projects? We should probably have put Eddie up here too. Everybody follow Eddie as well.
Yeah, at Eddie LeBron.
All right.
You'll find us both on Love Your Face. But we post updates all the time. Awesome. Updates and casting calls.
Ooh, that's exciting. So people should answer those casting calls. They might be able to be the one who gets their thumb ground off or their mouth cut wide or any of the other gruesome things that you've dreamed up for us today, which I just love.
Tied to a chair and tortured. That's another one that we're working on.
I love that some of these are hypothetical and others are like, no, we're doing that right now. That's on the list already. That's awesome.
There's two that are on the list. There's Paralysis and then one called Sophia. And Sophia's goal is to be the last woman you ever love.
Ooh. Okay. I was going to ask if she's the one tied to or the one tying, but I have an image now. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it's nostalgic. It has an 80s theme to it also.
That's another thing that gets me. Like I will watch from the 80s or like set in the 80s, referencing the 80s. Like,
yes,
it just hit something for me. So
it's the best decade. Everything about it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was too young for I was not a teenager in the 80s, you know? But I remember 80s teenagers because of my brothers. So it's like I sort of have, I didn't live their lives, but I was sort of around for the lives they were living in the 80s. And, you know, they're bad babysitting. They're very poor babysitting. So.
We all were bad babysitters back then. I did part of my teenage years in the 80s and then part in the 90s. But everything, all my opinions, all my influences, music, film, art are all 80s. Even still to this day, it's hard for me to come out of that decade.
Yeah.
It's greatest decade ever.
It's a great decade. We can stay there with the Lost Boys. We will all be lost together.
Yes. Lost Boys, Goonies.
Oh, the Goonies is so good.
Right?
Man.
And Stand By Me.
Yeah, those gotta be on the list too. Yes. Yeah. I mean, the Goonies is so gothic. I'm gonna call that, you know, Pacific Northwest Gothic, if I may. I don't even know if that's a thing or if I just said it, but I'm calling it.
We'll make it a thing.
I'm calling it and I love it. All right. So everybody follow Leticia, follow Eddie, follow Love Your Face Films, Be on the lookout for all of this new creepy stuff coming out.
Please do.
And keep your eyes open.
Yes, no closing.
No covering your eyes. You've heard it here. No covering your eyes. Leticia, thank you so much for being on here with us. And I think after Paralysis comes out, we need to have you back so you can tell us all about.
Definitely. I would love that. Thank you so much.
How people received it and how many people you were able to creep out and all that good stuff.
I'll send it to you first.
Yay! I would love that. I would love that. I will like make popcorn and have a screening and duct tape my eyes open. Can't close them.
No.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Thank you for hanging out with Letty and I, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.